Hello, I can see somebody's joined there. A couple of people have joined. We've got 6 people so far. Probably a few people. I know it's quite early for you over in the UK on Sunday morning. Here in Georgia, it is 2:45 in the afternoon. So I will say good morning, but for you it is, and I'll say good afternoon, but for you it is good morning. If you'd just like to pop comment in the chat box, let me know where you're joining from. Oh, I can see my colleague Teona is also here as well. Hi Teona, Kama Jobat. Yeah, 13 joined now from North Lancashire. Great, lovely. Lovely. It'd be great to hear if anyone is doing outdoor learning as well, what you know about it, if it is in the UK already very popular or not so much. Oh, good morning from Bournemouth. Cool. Somewhere I've never been to many different countries, but not so many of my own. So I'm from Newcastle originally. I did my PGC at the University of York. I'm a proud product of Susie Buell and Liz Black. Although I like to get the kids outside when the weather permits, great. And a teacher trainer, brilliant. So maybe you also know Susie Buell and Liz Black, who were absolutely wonderful. Yes, so I was PGC at the University of York, and I taught internationally in Sri Lanka for 5 years, and then now I'm in Tbilisi in Georgia. This is my 3rd year here now. Oh, Forest School as well, that's great. Alternative learning module, which involves outdoor learning, brilliant. So great to see a few people are interested. Just giving a couple of minutes for people to join. So I will start to share my screen now. You know what's great about the outdoors? Nothing. Maybe some people have this attitude. I know in our school sometimes there is a yearly hike that is organized, and a lot of the students were not so positive about that. So what I'm going to talk about today is just a few strategies that I've done that has had a really positive response with our students, and hopefully it will be a useful seminar for you. And so a little bit about me. So my name is Ellie, and I'm the head of languages at the British International School of Tbilisi. I've been teaching now for 10 years, makes me feel a bit old. And I'm really, really keen to continue learning and continue experimenting with outdoor learning strategies to teach languages in a different way. Now, I understand that obviously we have to prepare them for exams. We can't do outdoor learning every day, but it's just a way of mixing things up a little bit and keeping the fire of language teaching alive. So there is a QR code here which you can scan. If you are not able to scan, I'm going to pop a link in here to a Padlet. So I'm not sure if you use this already in your lessons. I find it's also great resource for practicing speaking, for practicing writing. And just, yeah, if you would like to add, you can double click and add your ideas so we can all share together. I'm aware, I hope that at least 1 or 2 of my ideas will be useful for you, but I'm aware as well that maybe I will say some things that you already do, that you already know, and maybe I will say something that you have a better idea or a different idea, and it would be really nice to continue that community of sharing everything. So if you've taught any of your language lessons outdoors or part of a lesson outdoors, what did you do? Were they successful? Why or why not? Because it's kind of a bit of a trial and error, I would say. There's been some that were absolutely fantastic, and those ideas I will share with you, and some that I need to tweak things a little bit. So okay, so make a start. Okay, so just for context, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about our school. So we have almost 60 different nationalities. We are a really multilingual school. And being from the Northeast myself, I taught in Stanley in County Durham for a couple of years, which was, it was very, very kind of monolingual. It was very, very different. So I understand your setting may be different. The attitude to languages might be different to what we have here, but we have 4 times 9-week rotations of French, Spanish and German and Georgian, which is brilliant. We start as young as year 1, and then we do French, German and Spanish all the way up to IGC and A-level. So I'm a German and French specialist, so apologies, Spanish speakers. The things that I'm going to talk to you about will be kind of mostly French and German, but you can apply it in any language really as well. So why go outdoors? First of all, try sitting for up to 6 hours a day in a classroom. It is exhausting. I can't even manage an hour, maybe in an after-school meeting. I really, especially after a long day, I just feel really drained. And another thing to consider, maybe you can add this on the Padlet as well. When do you remember something clicking for you when learning a language? For me, it was never, or very, very rarely, in the classroom. It was actually interacting with people, being outdoors, in a completely different setting. And research suggests that location can alter memory cues as well. So, and I would really agree with that, because for me, I remember the location of where I learned something new. For example, in German, zwei Fliegen mit einer Klappe schlagen. I remember the person that when I learned that, I remember where I was. And I think for our students, it's the same as well. And often when they leave the classroom, everything is, and I find that they do retain quite a lot on being outside. So it's also had phenomenal success in Nordic countries such as Finland. I studied a module on outdoor learning. I'm very keen to continue learning more and more and more about it. And it allows for a more practical and real life application of the language, which I think, speaking especially, it's the biggest challenge that we as language teachers have. How do we get them to speak? How do we get them to manage to produce the language, rather than just being able to recognize and being able to understand it, for example. Okay, so I'm going to quit waffling. Hopefully the Padlet will work, and that's something to keep you occupied if I am waffling a bit too much, which I do tend to do, especially when I'm nervous. So this is something I tried very, very recently in the primary. And I've split my presentation into primary and into secondary. And I mean, you can adapt different ideas even for secondary if you're not a primary language teacher, and vice versa. Hopefully one of them or a couple of them you'll find useful. So in pairs, students create like a puzzle outside. So I took them outside and with chalk. And obviously, first of all, I taught them the question words in German. So wo, warum, wie, for example. You could do this with days of the week, you could do it with animals, anything. And what they do is they just they jumble up some letters, and they would create like a grid. It could be bigger than this. Some students decided to do, depending on the level, you could get them to do, say, like a 12 square grid. And they write just different letters and hide maybe one word, depending on the age of the class, maybe 2 or 3 question words. And then using their body parts, they actually then have to spell out like the words, which they really, really enjoyed doing. The only thing is, maybe have them in their PE kit. They were covered. They were absolutely filthy. Luckily, I didn't get any complaints from parents, but yeah, definitely they will need to wash their hands afterwards. And they could even jump if you're a bit worried. Okay, we don't want to get them absolutely filthy. We teach them in the morning. They can jump. They could jump like a kind of a hopscotch. So let's say if they've got the question word "vo" spelled out, they would have to just jump it out, and then they actually do each other's kind of puzzles, which they really, really enjoyed. So that was a nice, the sky's the limit. You can make different shapes. They can do it in rings as well. They really liked that. Another one that they also really loved, and I use this when I teach prepositions, is hide, seek, find, and tell. So it's not just hide and seek. First, I used like a Simon Says style game to teach prepositions. So under the tree, behind the door, under the desk, next to the stairs, etc. Students close their eyes and count to 20 or 30 in their respective language. Obviously, you would need to have taught the numbers first for that. One student hides. When the students found, they cannot then hide until they tell me in the target language where they found them. So they were so excited, and it just filled my heart with joy. Just they're all running around going, hinter dem Baum, or neben der Treppe, or where. It was really, really nice. And they loved that. And they wanted to play it again and again next lesson. I said, guys, we can't just do prepositions forever. And it's really, really nice. I think the main challenge is teaching them the vocabulary first. So start small, you know, maybe one lesson. You could even stretch it over multiple lessons. So you could do one lesson where, you know, you just do 4 things, say under the tree, behind the door, next to the stairs, under the window, or wherever, and then you can add more in the next time. So don't try to do too much at once. I would say, you know, kind of fit it into manageable chunks. And whoever put the heart, thank you very much. It's really nice, very motivating. This is, I'm pretty sure everyone, you know, maybe is aware of this. It seems very simple, but they love it. Each pair writes in a designated color. So they get Post-it notes. They will have like a vocab list. So it could be to label the school. It could be to label doors, windows, chairs, rugs, ceiling, wall, anything. And they then go around the school, or it can be outside as well, and just trash the school. Basically, they love it because it's making a mess. And of course, children love making a mess. But it's practical, and they really love it. And in my opinion, they do remember it as well. So the winning pair is whoever labels the most items in a particular area. And because it's very important, they write in their designated color, because then you can identify which students have put the Post-its where, for example. So we also did a really lovely one, even with the Year 7s. I did this with when we're doing about appearances, you know, so and personalities as well. It was lovely. So I told them to, with sticky notes, go and label all of their classmates' lockers. So even the ones who don't do German, they then found, you know, lots of nice sticky notes when it was break time. Freundlich, lustig, friendly, or funny, intelligent. And it's almost like a kind of a well-being, like a self-esteem exercise as well, you could even do. So to get them to label the lockers of their classmates, obviously check that they don't say anything mean, but we're quite lucky with our students. They are generally very, very nice. It's really nice, even if there's students who don't understand, then they actually then tell them what it means, because they remember that process of writing it on the note, and they remember that action. So they can then tell them what it means, rather than me standing the front of the class and lecturing them on different, you know, like a vocab list. Okay, go away and learn it, which is what I remember personally when I was at school. And it just, you know, as soon as I was not the most conscientious all the time, not the best attention span, so which is why I'm motivated for these kinds of things. Thank you, whoever's sending the nice emojis. It really is very kind. Thank you. Again, seems quite, you may well already do this, and apologies if you do already do this. Creating surveys, they love it. So first, you know, teach the question words. Students complete a survey, so they see what a good survey would look like. And then even the next step from there, they can then create their own. So I did once in French, for example, how many windows, doors, tables, chairs can you find? Where can you find this? What color is this? What is the biggest? What is the smallest? And set kind of an area, maybe in the playground, or could even be in the cafe, could be anywhere around the school. And they just love that freedom of just being, you know, being let loose in a controlled space to find all of these different places. And they actually, because they're practically doing something, I find if they had these as like a textbook, a few questions in a textbook, well, they kind of, it's not as stimulating. I mean, obviously, you know, reading in classroom, as I say, it does have its place, and that does need to be considered, because if we do outdoor learning all the time, then it's the balance is then offset. But this is, I find, they really like it. Could even do it to involve other teachers, or who teaches this subject to practice who. I mean, in German it's wer for who, which is really confusing because it sounds like where. And yeah, surveys, and then yeah, so you can print it out. They can even do it on iPads, so that's mixing technology and outside as well. They could do it on Google Forms. They quite enjoy that. So yeah, I find that's also something really successful. The next one, I've got a little video for you, and I hope it's going to work. Duck, Duck, Goose. Again, apologies if already you know this one. Students sit in a circle, and one student walks around tapping the heads of others. So I found this really nice to practice. Could be to practice animals, could be to practice body parts, could be emotions like traurig or trist, trist, trist. And then as soon as they say, for example, heureux, then they have to then run around the circle. So I've got a little video for you there. I'm just going to stop sharing this a second so I can show you my video here. And hopefully it's going to work.
Mathias Primary School in West London.
Forgot about the screen there, sorry. Okay, so yeah, you get the gist there. So it's all I did is I decided, I remember learning that game on oh, no sound. Sorry, apologies. I mean, hopefully with the subtitles, it was not. I think, yeah, I think rather than play it again, I think, I mean, it will be available to view anyway. I can post. What I can do is I can post the actual link. I will do that towards the end, so I don't lose all of my open tabs. But I will post the link as well into the video, and I'll post it on the chat. Sorry, on the Padlet as well. But what I decided to do, basically, I learned it in a summer camp, and just adapt it for teaching vocabulary. And it really works quite well, even with year 7, year 8 in the secondary. Thanks to subtitles. Okay, so yeah, hopefully. Yeah, we've got the gist, no problem. Great, thank you. So I'm not, yeah, unfortunately, yeah, I love teaching languages. Technology is not my strongest skill set, I'm afraid. Okay, so yeah, it's great. You can do it with animals. I even in German I used it to teach word order as well, with weil. So weil ist interessant, weil ist langweilig, weil ist lustig, and then whoever said ist, then they then went around. So word order in German is always really hard to teach. Okay, also not so necessary to be outside this one. You can do it in the classroom, but why not? We have like a little kind of summer house building in our playground area, and the students really they really enjoyed going outside and sitting outside, and even a different location. I mean, obviously in the UK, the weather can be obviously temperamental, shall we say? So even just a different location in the maybe in the canteen or in the like in the hall or just somewhere a little bit different could make a big difference. So who am I? Or it could be where am I? So I did this recently with a German group when we were teaching about places in town. So where am I? So you know, if you've got the bank, you've got the swimming pool, the cinema, etc. So each student writes any. So you just display on the board first of all before you go outside or before you go to a different location. Each student would then write any you know, so let's say coffee or cafe or shopping center in the target language, and then you go outside or wherever you're going, and then they just stick it on the head, and then they have to guess who is what. It's just that guessing game, that repetition, that practicing, and the change of location. I found that they quite enjoyed that. And primary, even for year 7, it can be quite a nice one. Oh, great. Wow. Someone joining from Portugal as well. Oh, not a problem here in Portugal. The weather, I see. Oh, lovely. Yeah. Yeah. In Tbilisi, we have the weather's pretty good here as well. We don't have much rain at all. It's pretty dry climate. And we get snow in the winter, which I love. So, and then directions. Students create their own driving test. They love this. I mean, we're quite lucky. We've got go-karts in the school. I know not all schools will have that, but even just outside, and then they create like their own driving test. They absolutely love it. They really enjoyed that. So usually I use the game Temple Run. I'm not sure if you've heard of that. It's if you just search Temple Run. I'll put it on the Padlet. That there was the link to join in the chat and earlier on as well. So turn left, turn right, forwards, backwards, faster, slower, stop, start. You could even add like careful, like Achtung or Vorsicht, you know, kind of elements of, are you going to crash, or, you know, to make it like, again, more fun, or use a little bit more bits of language. So in pairs, they would just create their own driving test. Like that, it's almost like creating their own like assault course almost, but we're in the playground itself. So and they love that. And then one of them will be the driving instructor, and the other one is the person that's on their test. And then they have to complete everything in order to pass their driving test. And it's quite grown up, and they love that. Another way of making it even more fun is you can add a time element into it. So they've got to complete everything in like 1 minute or in a certain amount of time. That also is really fun. And you know, you'll just hear them going like geradeaus, 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 and yelling at each. But then they're speaking and they don't even realize so much, which is also really nice. Okay, so for this, I'm definitely going to have the sound. I think I know what I did wrong last time. So I'm just going to open this for you. So this is a combination of song and game. And I think the best way to really understand this, I found an equivalent in French, Cinq Petits Poissons. And basically, I mean, I'm going to play the song for you so you can see it. My students love it. Even I have them now again in year 6. I had them from year 4, and they're like, please, can we do this song again? I'm like, that was 2 years ago. That was so year 4. Like, aren't you a bit older than this now? But they still really love it. So basically, it's about 5 fish. And what I did is we learned the song because it's very catchy, as you'll see in a minute. I took them outside, and then they sing along the song, and then you choose some people to be the sharks. So that when they hear the Den Nemir, gibt es Haie und die fressen euch gleich, and then they have to, then the sharks run and then catch them. So it's like an element of song and game outside, and they really love that, and they know all the vocabulary from the song. I heard them even in their own playtime singing it in the playground. So anyway, I'm going to stop waffling, and I'm going to show you now the song. I'm just going to stop sharing this so I can share the video with you. when I find it. Oops. Right, need to share my screen again with you. Okay, and right, share sound and optimize for video clip. So it's very catchy. Apologies in advance because this will be in your head for probably the rest of the day now.
Blub, 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 schwibbeli, schwapp, schwapp, blub, blub. Blub, 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 schwibbeli, schwapp, schwapp, blub, blub. Blub, 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 fünf kleine Fische, die schwammen im Meer. Blub, blub, da sprach die Mutter, ich warne euch sehr. Blub, blub, ich wär viel lieber in nem kleinen Teich.
Denn im Meer gibt es Haie und die fressen euch gleich.
Ach du Schreck, ein Fisch ist weg. Vier kleine Fische, die schwammen im Meer. Da sprach die Mutter, ich warne euch sehr. Ich wär viel lieber in nem kleinen Teich.
Denn im Meer gibt es Haie und die fressen euch gleich.
Ach du Schreck, zwei Fische sind weg. Schwapp, 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 schwabidua, schwapp, 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 schwabidu, schwapp, 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 schwabidua. Drei kleine Fische, die schwappen.
Okay, I'll just make it stop. So yeah, apologies. It's really, really, really catchy. Well, thank you, whoever sharing the love hearts. It's really kind. So it's really, really, really catchy, and they love it, and it's amazing. It already got me. It really is catchy. Even some of the parents were, that song, oh my gosh, like they want to listen to it all the time at home. And they absolutely love it. There is an equivalent I found in French. I did that with my French club as well. It's a little bit faster, so it's cinq petits poissons qui nagent dans la mer. And then when you hear the je vois les requins qui me montrent les dents, and then they all run and they love that. So that's the way you can take them outdoors, and it's like a combination of song and game also outside, which they really enjoy. I didn't find one for Spanish. Perhaps my colleague who is in the audience can find one and share it in the chat. Who knows? Maybe so. But there is an equivalent in French. So I'm sure that there must be in Spanish. There must be. So it's a great one. Brilliant. They love it. Okay. Oh man, running out of time. I'm not even on the secondary yet. So I'll move on now to secondary. Obviously, a few people have said to me before, okay, it's all this outdoor learning, it's great, but it's a relatively low level, vocab level stuff. How do we do this in secondary? Because they have to be able to access longer text. They have to be able to produce longer written passages. But I found it's still possible with some of these ideas, which I've tried with my year 8s, also with my year 9. So I mean, a running dictation, I think probably a lot of you will know. I mean, I remember learning that one in my PGCE. It always works great, and you can do it in the classroom, but if you take it outside, it's also great fun as well. So one student, you just add like an element of hiding it in there as well. So one is the runner, and the other student is the scribe, and you choose students to be the judges. So these students then will hide the text somewhere to find. Be sure to specify a reasonable search range. And the reason I say that is one of my students in year 9 literally hid it like the other side of the school, and it was way too far. And then the students were already demotivated because they had to run for about nearly 10 minutes to find it. So specify a reasonable search range so they don't get carried away and go too far for the runners to find. So yeah, add an element of finding it there as well. While the activity is underway, so they go, they find it, they commit maybe a sentence or a few words to memory, and then they come back and then they get their scribe to then write it down. So while the activity is underway, the judges give a tick for every word that is spelled correctly. So they actually then, they will have as well the original text with them, but they cannot show the others. And they're usually quite good with that because obviously they don't want the others to win, so they are quite strict. They're quite self-disciplined on that as well. All right, I'm still smiling, lads. That's so wonderful to hear. That's great. I'm happy that I brought you some joy on a Sunday morning, and I appreciate. I know it's early in the UK. Here it's not so bad. It's 3:15 in the afternoon, but I understand. You know, I would maybe not be out of bed at this time on a Sunday morning, to be honest. Um, okay, so yeah, that's just a kind of a little setup. But I think running dictations, the concept, I think most people are probably already familiar with. Similar concept to that. Again, energetic students, ones who you want to burn off a little bit of steam, especially if it's last lesson of the day or it's the one before lunch, you know, when they're the least kind of capable of you know, kind of sitting in a classroom. Hide words or phrases around the area at the start of the lessons. This could be on the basketball court, it could be in the playground. Again, specify a specific area which are missing from the text. So I found 8 missing words or short phrases works really well. Students spend 5 minutes reading the text and then they think of possible ways they could fill the gaps in, which makes it quicker for them to find the answers. So let's say if you've got a text about being healthy in French, for example, or doing sports, if you see a text, for example, that is kind of j'adore faire la, then they have to think, okay, what's a sport that's with la? Or it could be natation. So then they've already got some ideas of words that could possibly fit in there. So then they'd go run around, find the words, and then fill in the answers. So definitely give them that 5 minutes reading time. It's a really good way of them cognitively trying to think, oh, what words could maybe fit in here, what would work. And also I've put synonyms here at the bottom. I think synonyms is so important and it's often overlooked. I mean, I'm guilty of myself when I was younger, not paying enough attention to the use of synonyms, because they need to know synonyms in the listening IGCSE or GCSE. They need to know it in the reading, even in the writing and speaking, so they don't repeat the same thing all the time. So you could even have it not so, you could have even words and then they have to run around and find synonyms, other ways of saying this word. So in German, for example, you've got like 3 different ways of saying like something. So ich mag, es gefällt mir, or you've got with gern. So then you could have maybe like a list of words and they or phrases, and then they have to find the equivalent way of saying it, and then run and locate them and then find them and then fill them in. So that I found worked really, really well, worked a dream with my year 9s. Got a big class of all boys and 1 girl, and they love stuff like this. Getting them, I think boys especially, they like to be outside, they like to run around. This other one, it blew my mind when I tried doing this. It's just, I couldn't believe it. I was just so impressed with just what they could do. So I gave them, so basically this is like, it's like a code breaker. It's the first letter of each word. And I said at the start of the lesson, I said, do you think that if I show you these again in like 15 minutes or 20 minutes, that you'll be able to say a full sentence in German? They said, you're joking, no way, I'll never remember that. And they could. So they are given just the first letter. They have to run to then find the actual sentence or the text. It could even be a short paragraph. They have to memorize. So, letztes Jahr bin ich mit meiner Familie nach Deutschland geflogen. And it's unbelievable how they actually can commit this to memory. It's a great way to prepare them for speakings, a great way to prepare them for writing as well. Committing language to memory, it's the biggest challenge that we have. I mean, I'm definitely, as a linguist, a lot of people say, oh, you're so clever, you speak so many languages. No, I'm someone who has to work really, really hard. I don't have a very good memory, actually. But these kinds of strategies I find really are amazing, really, really helped. French, for example, à mon avis, je pense que je mange assez sain parce que je mange 5 fruits et légumes par jour. You'll be amazed what their brains are capable of just from this kind of this first letter of each word. And that's something that they really enjoyed that. And again, charades, again, not necessarily to be outside, but why not? different change of scene. To increase the challenge, you can even add 2 or 3 concepts. So, and with my year 9s again, we did jobs. You know, then you could extend it, or I think the example I've given here, I did with my year 8s. So you can add 2 or 3 concepts, so the sentences are extended when the students guess the answers. So, for example, student acts out the action of painting, which in German is ich male, and then gives a thumbs up for either gern or a thumbs down for nicht gern. Then they hold up the number of fingers to show how often they do something. So you can add more concepts to make them extend their sentences, because obviously at secondary we need to be extending their sentences more, increasing the challenge, not just ich male. How can we add that? So one of them, you know, they're in groups of 3. One of them is obviously acts out, and then whoever then guesses first, then they get to then be on and give the charades. They like that as well. They love acting, little drama kings and queens. Again as well, creating short films, grammar. So, I mean, I don't actually know Icelandic grammar, but I know German grammar is significantly more difficult than Swedish, Norwegian, for example, Dutch grammar, and then German grammar. I posted this on the classroom, they quite liked it. But I said, see, you know, it's not that bad. It could be worse. You could be learning Icelandic. Grammar is always, I think, the kind of one of the areas that students really hate, but we've got to do it. We've got to teach it. I said, guys, you just got to learn it. We've got to do it. So come on. Creating short films really, really worked well outside with the perfect tense. So students had a list of infinitive verbs, and they had to take selfies. And so those who didn't want to do videos, I said, okay, you can take it, or even not of yourself. It could be a picture of something else to illustrate that in the past tense, and then they had to create like a subtitle on it. They all went outside with the iPads, or, you know, if it's a class you trust well. I know not all classes you could do this, but even with their devices, and they'll love that, the opportunity to use their phones to create short videos to illustrate each one. So I did that with the perfect tense. So for example, you know, I ate something, or I slept somewhere, then or I had an accident. You know, they loved acting that out, and then you can get them to speak or to create subtitles. It's quite flexible, and they absolutely love that. And it's also good fun to you can then show those videos to younger students. So you've actually almost created a resource. If those students obviously are comfortable with that, they love that, especially in a school like ours where it's quite small. They all know each other. They're really, really. They're like, oh, please, can we see the Year 9's video? You know, they really, really enjoy it, which is nice. Use of football. This is an area I'm really keen to explore further on as well. Obviously, I'm not the most sporty person in the world, but a football time trial, conjugations. So they stand in a circle, could even be a zigzag. They have to pass the ball to the end of the zigzag or do a full round of the circle. But they can only pass if they say the correct conjugation. For example, je suis, tu es, il est, elle est, nous sommes, vous êtes, ils sont, elles sont, mes elles sont, them's. And then only once they've done a full round, they pass to the person in the middle, who then goes and scores a goal, hopefully, if they're good. And you can add a time element in there. So, okay, we've got to do this like in under a minute. And then they really get riled up, and they really like that if there's a time element in there as well. I'm very keen to explore more. This is kind of all I have football-wise at the moment. It could even be with basketball. It doesn't have to be football. It could be with volleyball. It could be like a hot potato kind of thing, where you just throw a ball around in a circle. They have to catch it. They quite like, especially I've got again, boys for some reason always do German. So we have a full class of Year 8 boys. They love this. They're really into their football. So I'm very keen to explore more to do with football or to do with sports. So any ideas that you have, I would love to hear them. And that's kind of what I'm going to look into very soon. Maybe next year I'll have some more for you. But again, maybe you've already done this, creating signs around the school, modal verbs, using the imperative. They love that, because then all around the school it's what they've done, and it's there, and it's always there, you know, and other people then see it, and then that's it, that's so and so's poster, he did that. And I use them all the time. If they ask me in English, can I go to the toilet? I'm like, poster, you made it, come on, you know, and they can refer back to it all the time. That can be, you know, you can let them make the signs even outdoors if you want. And then they go off and then they can then decorate the school with their signs, obviously specify a specific area as well. Oh, brilliant. I think timing wise, just in time then. So yeah, I've got a couple of minutes left for questions and answers. And I just want to say thank you so much for joining, for giving up your time over the weekend. And yeah, especially for all of the nice emojis as well. Oh, there's a video sent here this morning. Just roll up this chat. I teach prepositions using football team formations. That sounds great. That sounds really, really good. Okay, this one in primary is very popular. Couldn't find equivalent in Spanish. Okay, that's our homework. Maybe we'll find something. Write the link to the Padlet. Yes, here we go. Oh wow! For me, this has been the best talk of the whole show by a mile, and that's wow. That's really, really, really kind. I felt okay, and then actually it kind of got to about an hour ago. Oh, actually, I'm really, really nervous. Good point. How do you do the football stuff outside with 30 boys? Yeah, very, very good point. I think they go a bit mad. My boys only school, and yeah, I mean, yeah, I forgot class sizes in the UK. I remember having yeah, like 34, 30, yeah, I think I had 34 in one class at one point. My answer to that, get someone to help you. You can do, but I think maybe see if you could get somebody to help. If you do it as a one-off, maybe once a month or something, I'm sure someone would be more than happy to help with that. So yeah, let's have rope in the caretaker. Brilliant, that's great. That'd be lovely. And the caretaker probably love that it'd be something different for their day as well. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I mean, the host did say I don't have to. I mean, obviously, some of you may have other sessions to get to. I'm also interested to join some sessions today too. I'm just going to put a Padlet on as well, and we'll see what other people's ideas are. Just realised I do a lot more outdoor learning than what I realised. So many new ideas I will definitely try out. That's great. I'm so happy that I said at least something of use. So I'm just going to open up this Padlet then, just in the last couple of minutes. Where is it? Let's have a look. Yeah, it's such a positive event, this, isn't it? Okay. All right, never but desperate to get some ideas. Okay, so in the end it was, I mean, I will post anyway resources on here for obviously anyone who does join the recorded sessions, so people can access those YouTube links and they can access my slide as well. I'll post figure out a way to get it on this Padlet so people can access it. And please follow me on LinkedIn if anyone would like to get in touch. I'm always very, very keen to hear new ideas, to meet people from other schools and other language teachers as well. So yeah. Oh, also another colleague is here, Alex. Hi, Alex. Bonjour. So great. It was wonderful as well to have colleagues joining as well. Our French and Spanish, really, really blessed to work, because I've got to say nice things about them now because they're here. But no, I'm honestly very, very blessed to work with a wonderful team as well. I wish I'd been your student when I was learning French and German. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna start crying in front of you all now. Thank you so much, everyone. Right, I will log off then if there is not any questions as such. And bitte schön, thank you. Sorry, I didn't have more things for Spanish. Maybe that's my homework, my attempt for next year. So yeah, do add me on LinkedIn. I'm quite friendly most of the time, unless it's morning. And thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the language show. I'm just going to say a big thank you to Jonathan as well for organising this. It takes a huge amount of his time, and without him we would not have such a wonderful event. So Mariam is also here as well. Hi, Mariam. And yeah, have a wonderful rest of your day, and thank you for joining. Merci beaucoup. Dankeschön. Auf Wiedersehen. And yeah, I will log out and I will join a few shows myself now. Okay, bye. Have a wonderful rest of your day, guys.